Through my experiences working with folks at New York Lawyers, I really came to understand, first of all, what terrific work they do, and second, just how dedicated and incredibly smart and talented they are at doing this important work.
We provide the pro bono work that people definitely would not be able to afford, to stand up for the rights of people that are not able to afford it, and I think that that's why it's important, especially for New York.
New York Lawyers for the Public Interest is an incredible partnership between the private bar and community groups across the city. We work in 3 areas: disability rights, environmental justice, and health justice.
New York Lawyers' model of partnering with the biggest firms and best firms in New York City is incredibly powerful because it multiplies the effect that New York Lawyers can have in the community.
I have always been very attracted to work done on behalf of individuals with disabilities. People who, in this incredibly vibrant but incredibly complicated city in which we live, are at tremendous disadvantage performing the daily activities of their lives.
The adult homes case was a major piece of impact litigation. Having Paul Weiss behind us was incredibly important and gave us the ability to take on this massive litigation on behalf of 4,300 people living in adult homes.
The model of the collaboration between Paul Weiss and New York Lawyers in the adult homes case is one that we both want to and do replicate in other areas. We try to find partnerships that accomplish the very important aims for our clients and also give opportunities for private law firms to make significant pro bono contributions to the life of this city.
We have been at the forefront working with our community partners and other nonprofits to make sure that when people go to the hospital or they get a prescription at a pharmacy, that they actually get it in their own language and can understand the medicine they're supposed to be taking.
Last year, we were just able to get settlement agreements with all of the major chain pharmacies operating in New York State. So that affects 2 million people and 2,000 stores statewide. We continued and pushed for local legislation in New York City that would continue the gains of the settlement agreements beyond the term of the settlement agreements. And so now all pharmacies in New York City with 4 stores or more are required to provide interpreter services, translated medication labels, notification to patients. It's a huge, huge victory for us. It's the first law of its kind in the country. And now, because of having passed this bill on pharmacies and language access, we have advocates from other states, other jurisdictions calling us to try to replicate that model.
One of the biggest accomplishments of this past year was raising the public awareness and attention about the problem of toxic PCBs in public schools. Thanks to our efforts and our partnership with community groups and individual parents, we have raised this issue and gotten attention of the EPA and the Department of Education.
People normally associate PCBs with the pollution of the Hudson River, but in fact, PCBs were also used in construction materials and in particular in caulk. When Congress banned PCBs in the late 1970s, they didn't require that the PCBs that had been used in construction materials be cleaned up. A year and a half ago, the Daily News ran an expose on PCB contamination in the window and door caulking in New York City schools, and that's when we became involved.
They came to one of our parent association meetings when the PCB issue was really hot, to find out kind of where the school was on the issue. And then from there, kind of connecting us with other parents in other schools.
The Department of Education did a really good job of tamping down the level of risk, the sort of inadequate testing that they had conducted. They really did a very good campaign of just sort of like, it's really nothing, you shouldn't worry about it.
Even though like I don't have a child in the school, my daughter's 3 years old, but I was thinking to myself, you know, my daughter will eventually go to one of these schools, and I just felt like, okay, I needed to do something. Like I couldn't just sit around and just, you know, allow the possibility of my daughter being exposed to these dangerous chemicals.
The DOE is pretty huge, And as a parent, sometimes you feel like you are this small.
New York Lawyers has a particular specialty is that we can navigate the universe of litigation and legalese in an expert fashion, as well as the community organizing and the building and the reaching across silos.
They have played such an important role, and I'm just so grateful that they're there, you know, because they're fighting really for us, you know. Quite honestly, parents don't have the money to pay for lawyers for an issue like this. And for them to take the road that they're taking, that speaks mountains.
New York Lawyers is the first public interest and civil rights organization to take PCBs in caulking on as a campaign issue. And we're going to be launching a local legislative effort. We've been involved in federal and state legislative advocacy around this. We filed the first ever lawsuit by a parent against the Department of Education nationwide on this issue. So we're proud to be playing a role in pushing awareness of the question forward.
New York Lawyers is a civil rights law firm. We have an in-house practice, and we also run a pro bono clearinghouse, which provides access to legal services for the grassroots organizations that provide services to poor and underserved New Yorkers.
The Pro Bono Clearinghouse is a unique resource. It provides one-stop shopping for attorneys who are interested in doing pro bono. It provides very effective legal representation for individuals and organizations who need pro bono legal assistance, and it raises awareness of pro bono throughout the New York legal community.
Each year, the Clearinghouse assists between 250 and 300 organizations, mostly that work in the New York area and that serve poor and underserved communities. The groups that we serve are really in high demand from the populations that they work with, and we are trying to match their needs with lawyers who can help them. This year, lawyers and paralegals from Citigroup and Skadden partnered with us to provide a day-long series of workshops for families on guardianship training. It was an incredible success, and we are really excited about this kind of emerging interest from corporate legal departments in doing pro bono work with us.
It's critical to present the opportunities that are out there and to provide a mechanism for people to learn about how they can go about performing pro bono in a meaningful way. And so the Clearinghouse does an excellent job of bringing that information to a group of people who potentially can take advantage of it and make an impact.
What I think the future holds for New York Lawyers is continuing to identify unmet needs in the community, mixing advocacy in the community and outreach in the community with top-notch legal services.
New York Lawyers for the Public Interest community lawyering model has enabled us to achieve some amazing victories. In the years ahead, we hope that we'll continue to be able to work with communities and with law firms around the city to make a difference in people's lives.